emos grow up. It's important to know they become men and father children and have families. But they're still emotional. And they need it all, yeah.
Okay, so we wanted to start with asking how did you, come about the script and what enticed you to actually do and play this character?
Well, it always starts with, an incredible team behind me. So my manager and my agents filter through an amazing amount of things to come through. I was sent the script, which I just devoured straight away. I was in LA at the time and I was missing the north of England, and I read this beautiful script about where I grew up, and I was like, God, this is it, and it read so quickly. It didn't feel like anything I'd read before, and even though the character that they were interested in me for doesn't appear a hell of a lot in the first one, there's enough people talking about it and to realise that this is going to be some kind of interesting role. So I was like, yeah, okay, I need to, I knew that I'd watch this even if I wasn't in it, so I wanted to be in it. To make sure. So yeah.
Because you played like kind of an antagonist type of character,
yeah.
Revenge and stuff.
Yeah.
So I figured this was also right up your alley.
Yeah, it's characters that are compelling and slightly off center. with some angst and some, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we all are, and I'm fascinated by the human condition, and anytime I can play someone who is quote unquote flawed or strange, I think, okay, bring it on, because they're the kind of roles that we should play, and bring stuff off the page. When I approached Eddie, I had conversations with hair and makeup and with style, and what I wanted to do was make it kind of a homage to bad guys that you recognize, or bad boys from a million different shows. So there's elements of the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, through to 2000 emo, and I had a playlist of about 200 and something songs that I would listen to, and everything was drawn from there, from the 50s onwards. Bad boy, so just anything you've seen James Dean through, bad guys from campy soap operas, right the way through, Eddie from Stranger Things to, the other one from Stranger Things with the curly hair. All of these guys, I was like, okay, there's elements of these guys you recognize, but then let's twist it up and see what happens if we take him and we put him here. So that's been fun.
And what do you think is sort of, Eddie's motivation? What is his, what is it that he is kind of wanting to happen in his life now that he's, back? Well, from what we've seen, I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, I think, look, everyone in this village, the overriding feeling of this show or emotion is fear. And it's also in a larger sense of society. Like, sometimes as a collective, as the human collective, we know something is not right. We don't quite know what it is, but we know something's going on here or something's going on here. But we either assume someone else is going to fix it or there's nothing happening. We need to make sure we check in on these things that are happening as a group, not to be spread apart, but as a community all together, and then only then can we fix things. And that's relative in the macro, but also in the micro in this small town, is like, hey, this is happening to all of us. Don't pit each other against each other. Let's take this on as a whole. And so fear, to answer the question for Eddie, is dealing with who he might be, what might be inside, what he might be capable of, who he is. When you're called the monster, when you're called this bad person all the time, in a small village like that, it's very important to have an identity, and it's very important for him to have that. But in the same sense as someone who wants to be visibly seen as this guy, he's hiding behind his tattoos, he's hiding behind his hair, he's hiding behind his clothing. He doesn't want to be seen, but he needs to be seen to exist. If he's not this monster anymore, then who is he? And we'll see who he is by the end of it. But it was beautiful, great arc. Couldn't be happier.
And I think, so from what we've seen, there's a bit of a disconnect, obviously, between him and his family.
Yes.
But there is still a desire coming from him to connect with his daughters.
Yeah.
And, anybody in society that goes through something in the prison system and having that disconnect, it's so easy for a small town like that to label him, like you said, just a monster. But he's more than just that. So could you talk a little bit more about, his desire to connect back with his family?
Yeah, his family is everything to him. I mean, you can't see it as much, but on either wrist he has his daughter's date of birth here, and he has Joanne up his arm. So, his family was everything to him, regardless of what he's been outside. What I loved about Andy's writing when we're talking about backstory and stuff like that is he had a great father. He wasn't like, I didn't have my dad, I didn't have my mother, but I don't know, I'd take on the world. He'd had a pretty solid upbringing. He just, in a small town like that, roles need to be fulfilled, jobs get handed out, and he was handed out that he was the trouble. He loves his family, he wants to be a great father. I think, everybody wants to be that. Everyone wants to be relevant. I'll only speak from my perspective as a male. You want to feel important, and there's been generations of families where, I'll speak from my experience again. My wife runs our family, quite rightly, as women have done for a long time. But they've allowed men to feel like they were purposeful. Eddie wants to feel purpose. He wants to feel like he has something to do, important. And that's what he's saying. He wants to be relevant to people. And so he'll try hard to be there, if he can.
You think that he's looking for that, that acceptance and trying to, grow beyond what everybody thinks?
Yeah, I think you want to prove yourself, especially to his girls. It's like he's done his time, but he's worked through some of the things he was working through. It's like, I want to be your father. And understandably, they're like, well, I don't know who you are. If you're capable of what you've been accused of, that's not my father. I think there's a great line, might be in episode 1 or 2, she says, that's not our dad. Our dad went years ago, that's just Eddie. It's just heartbreaking. I mean, I don't know. There's some stuff down the line that, as a father myself, absolutely just ripped me open. It's very difficult to. Yeah, it wasn't hard to act it. Let's put it that way.
Of course. And how was it for you? Because you said that you mentioned that you're from up north, right?
Yeah.
From Manchester. How was it for you to read a script that?
I just have to clarify that I'm from Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, big time. No. As all of us, 3 of us in this room that you guys interviewing, all Northerners together, and very proud of where we're from, and telling stories from that part of the world, and for it to be such a beautiful depiction of it. These beautiful green rolling hills covered in snow, and sometimes when you see the north of England depicted on television, it can look a little shitty and kind of, council estates and everybody walking around with buggies and fucking shopping bags. And, exactly what they're trying to say, but we're sprawling, we're much more than that. And Northern England is gorgeous, and the people in it are incredible, and this is an honest depiction of the simplicity of what those people are like under duress. The working class. That's something we have in Britain, which is key, is that what you don't realise is we're all in it together, because they're fucking everybody. If you're in the working class, you're getting fucked from 2 classes. It doesn't matter what your culture is or anything. You're getting fucked together. They're very good at that in England.
Okay. And just real quick.
Yeah.
Outside from you, are you a Liverpool fan?
Yes, my wife's an Evertonian. And don't tell me about it.
I'm Colombian, so Luis Santos.
Oh, yes.
And that song that you guys have.
Yeah, he's from Baragas.
The best thing ever.
Yeah.
But,
I'm very good friends with a wonderful Colombian actor called Juan Pablo Raber as well. He's just, fucking. I did a show called 6 with him, and he's just unbelievable. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love him.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Meeting you and,
Yeah.